Lagos never truly slept. It only blinked. From the glowing bridges of Lekki to the restless heartbeat of Oshodi, the city breathed ambition. Neon lights shimmered on wet asphalt, Danfo buses roared like stubborn beasts, and somewhere between luxury penthouses and roadside suya stands, dreams were born every single minute. Some dreams were loud. Others were quiet. And then there were dreams like hers, sharp, determined, and impossible to ignore. They called her the Lagos Babe. Not because she was careless. Not because she was flashy. But because she carried Lagos inside her bones, bold, unafraid, and endlessly alive. Her name was Zara Adeyemi. And she was about to step into a game that would change her life forever. A game created by a man no one truly understood. A billionaire who believed love, loyalty, and ambition could be tested like pieces on a chessboard. His name was Tade Adebayo. And this was his game. Before we continue, please like this video and subscribe to the channel and let us know where you are watching from in the comments below. The morning sun crept slowly through the torn edge of Zara's curtain, stretching golden fingers across her small room in Yaba. Her alarm rang. She didn't snooze it. She never did. Zara sat up immediately, tying her hair into a loose bun as she whispered her usual morning mantra. Small girl, big dreams. Her room was modest but alive, ring light in one corner, stacks of thrift clothes on a rack, a sewing machine by the window, and sticky notes pasted on the wall like silent soldiers. Own a fashion empire. Buy Mamara house. Never depend on anybody. Be unstoppable. She stretched, slipped into a simple crop top and jeans, and opened Instagram. Her page at Lagos Babe Zara. Followers: 48,203. She smiled. Not yet where she wanted, but not where she started either. Her content was raw, lively, and real: street fashion transformations, thrift flips, daily hustle motivation. She didn't pretend to be perfect. That was why people loved her. She was Lagos. Bold, loud, beautiful chaos. Her phone buzzed. Bestie, Amaka. Zara, did you see the news? That billionaire is doing his yearly game again. Zara frowned, typing quickly. What game? Reply came instantly. The one where he picks girls and business people to compete for 1 billion naira investment. They say it's invite only. Oh. Zara scoffed lightly, sliding into her slippers. Invite only. Then it's not my business. Still, curiosity lingered. Everyone in Lagos knew about Tade Adebayo. Young billionaire. Tech genius. Owner of luxury hotels, fintech apps, fashion brands, even film studios. He was rich, mysterious, and painfully private. But once a year, he hosted something called the Billionaires game. No one knew the real rules. Contestants competed in business challenges, social tests, charity missions, and strategic tasks. Some said it was a mentorship platform. Others whispered it was a psychological test disguised as opportunity. But one thing was certain. The winner always walked away changed. Forever. Zara shook the thought away. Focus, girl, she muttered, grabbing her tote bag. Today was market day. The hustle. Balagan Market was already buzzing when Zara arrived. Sellers called out prices, customers bargained aggressively, and the scent of fried akara floated warmly in the air. Zara moved through the chaos like a queen navigating her kingdom. She knew which stall sold the best vintage jackets. She knew who would give her a discount if she smiled just right. She knew how to turn a 5,000 Nigerian Nairas thrift piece into a 25,000 Nigerian Nairas fashion statement. Zara babe. You don't come again, one trader teased. She laughed. Mama, any you go make me rich one day. Oh. Within 2 hours, she had selected clothes, filmed 3 transformation videos, and closed 2 online sales before noon. That was her life. No rich parents. No sponsor. Just hustle, creativity, and stubborn determination. As she paid for her last bundle, her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. Hello. A calm, masculine voice replied. Good afternoon. Am I speaking with Zara Adeyemi? Yes, who is this? There was a brief pause. Then the words dropped like thunder. This is the office of Mr. Tade Adebayo. You have been selected for an invitation to participate in the Billionaires game. Everything around her went silent. The shouting traders. The bargaining customers. Even the honking horns outside. Zara blinked. I think you have the wrong person. We don't make mistakes, Miss Adeyemi. Your digital entrepreneurship and social influence caught our attention. An official letter will be delivered to you this evening. Her heart pounded loudly. I didn't apply. You didn't need to. The line went dead. Doubt and destiny. Zara stood frozen in the middle of the busy market, clutching her phone like it might suddenly explode. Amaka screamed through voice note when she told her. What? Zara, this is your big break. Oh. You must go. Zara paced her small room later that evening, the sealed black envelope resting on her table like a mysterious crown. Her name was written in gold ink. Inside was a single card. You have been chosen. Welcome to the Billionaires game. Location: Adebayo Estate, Banana Island. Time: 7 p.m. tomorrow. Dress code: be unforgettable. Her chest tightened. Banana Island. That was where Lagos wealth lived like royalty. She whispered softly, almost afraid. What if this changes everything? Then she looked at her sticky notes on the wall. Be unstoppable. Slowly. Zara smiled. Then let the game begin. And somewhere across Lagos, in a glass-walled office overlooking the lagoon, billionaire Tade Adebayo watched her Instagram page silently. For the first time in years. He was intrigued. Let's see, he murmured, tapping her photo. If the Lagos babe can survive my game. The city lights shimmered outside his window. And fate had just made its first move. The next day felt unreal. Zara woke before her alarm, heart already racing as if Lagos itself was whispering, today will change your life. She lay still for a moment, staring at the cracked ceiling of her small Yaba apartment, listening to the distant horns, the chatter of early traders, and the faint sound of a generator starting up somewhere nearby. Normal sounds. Normal life. But today, nothing felt normal. The black envelope still lay on her table, elegant and intimidating. She reached for it again, reading the words for what felt like the 100th time. Welcome to the Billionaires game. She exhaled slowly. This is not a scam, right? She muttered. Her phone buzzed instantly. Amaka. Zara, you better not chicken out. Oh. Banana Island is not beans. Zara rolled her eyes but smiled. I'm not chickening out. I'm just thinking. Truth was, fear and excitement were wrestling inside her chest like stubborn twins. What exactly was this game? Why her? What did a billionaire want with a Lagos babe who sold thrift fashion online? She looked at her reflection in the small mirror above her dresser. Brown skin glowing softly in the morning light. Sharp eyes. Confidence hiding a tiny storm of doubt. Small girl, big dreams, she whispered again. Then she stood up. Decision made. By noon, Zara had turned her room into a fashion battlefield. Clothes were scattered everywhere. Sequined tops, fitted blazers, thrift gowns she had redesigned herself. She tried on outfit after outfit, rejecting each one with a frustrated sigh. Too simple, too loud, too desperate, She fell onto her bed dramatically. What do rich people even wear to billionaire games? Her phone rang, video call from Amaka. Amaka's face appeared instantly, eyes wide with excitement. Show me your options. Zara flipped the camera and walked her through the pile of outfits. Amaka gasped when she saw one particular piece. Wait. That black dress, the one you transformed last month. Zara hesitated. The dress. It was a thrift plain black gown she had redesigned into something breathtaking. Off-shoulder, fitted waist, high-slit, elegant but daring. She had planned to save it for a big fashion event one day. Her fingers brushed the fabric slowly. This one feels important, she whispered. Amaka grinned. Because it is. Zara, tonight is not just any event. Tonight, rich men and powerful people will see you. Not just as a Lagos babe, but as a force. Zara swallowed. A force. She liked the sound of that. Arrival at Banana Island. By 6:30 p.m., Lagos traffic tested her patience like never before. The ride to Banana Island felt longer than a journey to another country. As the car finally passed the estate gates, Zara's breath caught. The streets were quiet, clean, and lined with mansions that looked like they belonged in foreign magazines. Everything glowed: streetlights, fountains, glass balconies reflecting the sunset. "This place is not Lagos again," she whispered in awe. When the car stopped in front of Adebayo Estate, her heart nearly forgot how to beat. The mansion stood tall like a silent king. White marble walls, golden lights, tall gates opening automatically as if recognizing destiny itself. Security men guided her in respectfully. "Welcome, Miss Adeyemi." She blinked. They knew her name. Inside, the mansion was even more breathtaking. Crystal chandeliers, glossy floors, expensive art pieces, and people, many people. Elegant women in designer gowns. Confident men in tailored suits. Entrepreneurs. Influencers. CEOs. Socialites. Everyone looked rich. Powerful. Established. For the first time that evening, Zara felt small. She tightened her grip on her purse. "Maybe I'm in the wrong place," she whispered nervously. Just then, a tall lady with a tablet approached her. "Miss Zara Adeyemi." "Yes." The lady smiled politely. "Please follow me. Mr. Adebayo has been expecting you." Her heart skipped violently. Expecting me. The first glimpse of the billionaire. She was led into a grand hall filled with soft music and quiet conversations. At the far end, near the large glass window overlooking the lagoon, stood a man surrounded by a few guests. He wasn't laughing loudly. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He simply stood there, calm, composed, powerful without effort. Dark tailored suit. Perfect posture. Eyes sharp and observant. Like a king who didn't need a crown. The lady leaned slightly and whispered, "That is Mr. Tade Adebayo." Zara's breath stopped. So that was him. The billionaire. The man behind the mysterious game. As if sensing her gaze, Tade turned slowly. Their eyes met. And in that single moment, Zara felt something she couldn't explain. Like being seen, truly seen, beyond the glamour, beyond the confidence she wore like armor. He studied her quietly. Then, he smiled. Not a wide smile. Not a playful smile. But a small, knowing smile that felt like the beginning of a secret. He excused himself from his guests and walked toward her. Each step felt deliberate. Calculated. Powerful. When he finally stopped in front of her, Zara's throat felt dry. "Good evening, Miss Adeyemi," he said smoothly. His voice was calm, deep, controlled. "Good evening, sir," she replied, trying not to sound nervous. His eyes lingered on her dress briefly, then returned to her face. "You chose the right outfit," he said. Her cheeks warmed slightly. "You invited me to be unforgettable." One brow lifted, impressed. "Interesting answer." He gestured toward the hall. "Do you know why you're here?" She shook her head honestly. "No. I didn't apply. I don't know your rules. I don't even understand this game." A small chuckle escaped him. "That makes you more qualified than most people here." She frowned. "How?" "Because," he said calmly, "you came for opportunity, not desperation." The words hit deeper than she expected. He continued, voice lower now. "The billionaire's game is not just about money. It's about strategy, integrity, influence, and the ability to survive pressure. Over the next few weeks, contestants will face challenges that test business intelligence, emotional strength, loyalty, and leadership." Zara's heart pounded. "And the winner?" she asked softly. He stepped slightly closer. "The winner gets a 1 billion naira investment, and something far more valuable." Her brows knitted. "What is that?" He held her gaze, voice almost a whisper. "My trust." Silence stretched between them. Dangerous. Magnetic. Mysterious. Zara forced herself to breathe normally. "And if I lose?" Tade's expression didn't change. "Then you leave, exactly as you came." She swallowed hard. From across the hall, other contestants were watching them now, curious, jealous, calculating. She noticed it. He noticed that she noticed. "Don't worry," he murmured. "They're already trying to figure you out." Zara straightened her shoulders, confidence returning like a loyal soldier. "Let them try." That made him smile again. The announcement. A bell chimed softly in the hall, drawing everyone's attention. Tade stepped forward, voice echoing calmly through the luxurious room. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this year's Billionaires game." The room went silent instantly. "You have all been carefully selected. Not because you are perfect, but because you are promising." People exchanged nervous glances. He continued. "Over the next few weeks, you will face challenges that test your intelligence, creativity, resilience, and character. Some of you will form alliances. Some will betray each other. Some will discover strengths you never knew you had." Zara felt goosebumps rise on her skin. "And only one person," he finished, "will win." A dramatic pause. His eyes swept across the room and stopped briefly on Zara. "The game," he declared, "starts tomorrow morning." Gasps filled the hall. Zara's heart raced wildly. Tomorrow? So soon? As the crowd erupted into excited chatter, she remained still, staring at him across the room. He raised his glass slightly in her direction. A silent challenge. A silent promise. A silent warning. Zara lifted her chin confidently. Challenge accepted. And deep down, she didn't know it yet, but this game would test more than her ambition. It would test her heart. The night after the announcement felt heavier than the Lagos heat. Zara barely slept. Her mind replayed every moment from the mansion, the chandeliers, the contestants' sharp eyes, and most of all, the way Tade Adebayo had looked at her like she was both a puzzle and a possibility. By 5:30 a.m., she was already awake, sitting on her bed, staring at her phone. 1 billion naira investment. The number alone felt unreal. She imagined what it could do. Open her fashion studio. Employ young girls like her. Move her mother out of their old family house. Finally prove that a Lagos babe could rise without begging anyone. Her chest tightened with determination. "I didn't come this far to be scared now," she whispered. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Game day 1. Arrival time, 8 a.m. Location, Adebayo Innovation Hub, Victoria Island. Dress, smart, bold, unforgettable. She exhaled slowly. It's starting. The gathering of competitors. By 7:55 a.m., Zara stepped into the sleek glass building overlooking Victoria Island's busy road. Cars zoomed past outside, but inside, everything was calm, polished, and intimidating. A receptionist smiled politely. "Welcome, Miss Adeyemi. The other contestants are in the conference hall." Zara nodded and walked in. Immediately, she felt the shift. 20 contestants. All seated. All watching her. Some faces looked friendly. Others looked calculating. A few looked threatened already. She recognized some from social media. A popular tech bro influencer. A fashion designer from Abuja. A soft-spoken real estate entrepreneur. A confident lifestyle vlogger who was already whispering to others. Zara took a seat quietly, refusing to shrink under their stares. One lady in a red suit leaned closer and smirked. "So you're the Lagos thrift girl they invited?" Zara smiled calmly. "And you're the rich girl who thinks money equals intelligence?" The lady blinked, surprised. Then she chuckled softly. "I like you already. I'm Dami." Zara. Before more words could be exchanged, the glass doors opened. Silence fell instantly. Tade Adebayo walked in. No dramatic entrance. No noise. Just quiet authority. He stopped at the head of the long table, placing a sleek black folder down. "Good morning," he said simply. "Good morning, sir," they replied in uneven chorus. He looked around slowly, studying each face. "You all look confident," he said. "That will change soon." A few nervous laughs filled the room. He didn't smile. The true rules revealed. Tade opened the folder and pressed a button on the table. A large screen behind him lit up with bold words. The Billionaires game, official rules. Zara leaned forward slightly. Her heartbeat quickened. This game, he began, is divided into 3 major phases. The screen changed. Phase 1. Strategy. You will be given business challenges. Real-life scenarios. Real consequences. You must think, plan, and execute under pressure. Phase 2. Influence. You will be placed in social environments where your leadership, emotional intelligence, and ability to build trust will be tested. Phase 3. Integrity. His voice became quieter. The hardest phase. When loyalty, truth, and personal values are tested, most people fail here. A heavy silence fell. Zara swallowed slowly. He continued. You will not know when each phase ends. You will not know when you are being evaluated. Cameras, observers, and surprise tasks will be constant. A tech bro raised his hand. So basically, we're being watched 24/7. Tade nodded once. Yes. The room shifted uncomfortably. Another contestant asked, and elimination? He closed the folder calmly. Eliminations will happen quietly. You may wake up one morning and discover someone is gone. That statement hit harder than expected. Zara's chest tightened. This was not just competition. This was psychological warfare. The first test, the marketplace challenge. Tade pressed another button. Your first task begins now. The screen displayed. Task 1. Marketplace challenge. You have 100,000 Nigerian nairas each. You must create, promote, and sell a product within 6 hours. Highest profit wins immunity. Lowest 3 profits face elimination risk. Gasps filled the room. 6 hours. Someone shouted. That's impossible. Tade's expression didn't change. In business, time is rarely kind. Zara's brain was already racing. 100,000 Nigerian nairas capital. 6 hours to create and sell a product. Her heart thumped. Fashion. I know fashion. Tade's gaze shifted to her briefly, almost like he could hear her thoughts. Your time starts, he said calmly, now. The pressure begins. Chaos exploded instantly. Contestants grabbed their envelopes of cash and rushed out, calling suppliers, planning products, forming alliances. Dami turned to Zara quickly. Let's partner up. Fashion plus luxury branding equals profit. Zara hesitated. Partnership meant shared profit and shared risk. But time was running. Okay, she agreed. But we move fast. They rushed out together, hearts pounding with urgency. Back to the streets of Lagos. 2 hours later, Zara found herself in a familiar place, Balogun Market again. But this time, the stakes were higher. This is where magic happens, she told Dami confidently. They quickly bought plain denim jackets, beads, and fabric patches. Zara's mind worked like lightning as she transformed them on the spot into trendy customized statement pieces. Dami handled branding, filming, posting, marketing aggressively online. Limited edition Billionaire game jackets. Only available today, she shouted into the camera. People gathered quickly. The Lagos crowd loved exclusivity. Within hours, customers were already paying premium prices for the unique jackets. Zara's confidence soared. This might actually work, she whispered. Meanwhile, the billionaire watches. Inside his private office overlooking Victoria Island, Tade watched live feeds from different contestants' activities. Some were struggling. Some were panicking. Some were overconfident. But one screen held his attention longer than the others. Zara, covered slightly in fabric dust, laughing with customers, negotiating prices, moving like she belonged to the chaos of Lagos streets. Authentic. Fearless. Alive. He leaned back slowly. She's not pretending, he murmured to himself. For the first time, someone is just being real. And for reasons he didn't fully understand, that intrigued him more than any business strategy ever could. By evening, contestants returned to the hub, exhausted but hopeful. Each presented their profits. Some had done well. Some barely broke even. Some looked ready to cry. Finally, it was Zara and Dami's turn. Dami smiled confidently. We made 420,000 Nigerian nairas revenue. Profit, 260,000 Nigerian nairas. Murmurs filled the room. That was high. Very high. Tade nodded slightly. Impressive. Zara exhaled in relief. Maybe they were safe. But then he added calmly. There is, however, a twist. The room froze. Zara's heart dropped. Partnerships, he continued, divide profit. Therefore, your official individual profit is 130,000 Nigerian nairas each. Silence. Shock. Dami's smile faded slowly. Zara's chest tightened. Individually, their profit was now lower than some solo contestants. They looked at each other. Understanding dawned painfully. This game was not just about success. It was about strategy, trust, and consequences. Tade's eyes met Zara's again. Lesson 1, he said quietly. In business and in life, every alliance has a price. Zara swallowed hard. The rules had just changed. And deep down, she realized something terrifying. This game was not just testing her ambition. It was slowly testing her heart, and the choices she would make when success and survival stood on opposite sides. That night, Lagos looked more beautiful than usual. Or maybe, Zara was just seeing it differently. She sat quietly in the backseat of the ride taking her home, watching the city lights blur past the window. The Danfo buses still shouted for passengers. Street vendors still waved gala and soft drinks under yellow streetlights. Life continued as normal. But inside her chest, nothing felt normal anymore. 130,000 Nigerian nairas profit. It was good, but not enough to secure safety. And the twist? That hurt more than she expected. Dami sat beside her, unusually quiet, scrolling through her phone with tight lips. Finally, she spoke. You knew partnership would split profits, didn't you? Zara didn't answer immediately. I suspected, she admitted softly. Dami scoffed lightly. So you played smart while acting innocent. Zara turned to face her. No. I played real. There's a difference. Dami didn't respond again. The tension between them filled the car like thick smoke. By the time they reached Zara's apartment, both girls knew something had shifted. Not friendship. Not yet enemies. But trust had cracked. The silent night. Zara lay on her bed later that night, staring at her ceiling again. But this time, sleep refused to come. Her mind replayed Tade's words. Every alliance has a price. She turned on her side, hugging her pillow tightly. Why does it feel like he wasn't just talking about business? She whispered. Her phone buzzed suddenly. Unknown number again. Her heart skipped. She opened the message slowly. You adapted quickly today. That's rare. T-Day. Her breath caught. He was watching. Of course he was watching. She typed slowly. Is this part of the game? The reply came almost instantly. Everything is part of the game. Even this conversation. Zara frowned, but a tiny smile tugged at her lips. So, are you testing me now? There was a long pause. Then, no. I'm studying you. Her chest tightened unexpectedly. Studying her. Why? She typed carefully. And what have you discovered so far, Mr. Billionaire? Another pause. Longer this time. Then the reply came. That you're either very genuine, or very dangerous. Zara laughed softly despite herself. Maybe I'm both. She waited. But no reply came again. The conversation ended there. Yet somehow, it felt like the beginning of something far more complicated. Day 2, the luxury illusion. The next morning, contestants were summoned again. This time, the location was shocking. A luxury private resort on the outskirts of Lagos, complete with pools, palm trees, fine dining, and staff treating them like royalty. Zara blinked in confusion. Is this still part of the competition? Dami smirked. This is phase 2, influence. Contestants were dressed in designer outfits provided by the organizers. Zara hesitated when she saw the elegant white dress laid out for her. She touched the fabric slowly. "This is worth more than my monthly rent." But she wore it anyway. When she looked at herself in the mirror, she barely recognized the girl staring back. She didn't look like a struggling Lagos babe anymore. She looked like luxury, power, possibility. And that scared her slightly. The Billionaire's private party. By evening, the true purpose of the luxury setting was revealed. A high-profile networking party. CEOs, investors, politicians, celebrities, all invited. And the contestants' task: build meaningful influence, gain allies, impress investors, but remain authentic. Zara read the instructions twice. Authentic, in a room full of fake smiles and calculated conversations. This would be harder than any business task. Soft music played as guests mingled with champagne glasses and expensive laughter. Some contestants immediately began boasting about their achievements. Others pretended to be richer than they actually were. Zara did something different. She walked to the balcony, alone, watching the Lagos skyline glow under the night sky. "You're not networking," a calm voice said behind her. She didn't need to turn to know who it was. "I'm breathing," she replied softly. Tade stepped beside her, hands in his pockets. "You're the only contestant not trying to impress anyone tonight." She shrugged lightly. "Maybe because I don't know how to fake who I am." He studied her quietly. Most people would see this party as opportunity. Zara finally turned to face him. "I do see opportunity," she said honestly, "but not at the cost of losing myself." The words lingered between them. Real, bold, dangerous. For a brief second, Tade's carefully controlled expression softened. "You're different from what I expected," he admitted. She raised a brow. "Good different, or problematic different?" He chuckled quietly. "I haven't decided yet." The jealous eyes. Across the party hall, several contestants watched them closely. Whispers began. "She's getting too close to him. She's trying to play smart. She wants special treatment." Dami watched silently, unreadable expression on her face. Jealousy, suspicion, concern. Even she didn't know. But one thing was certain. Zara Adeyemi was becoming the center of attention. And in a competitive game. That was both power and danger. A dangerous conversation. Later that night, after most guests had left, Zara prepared to leave the balcony. But Tade stopped her gently. "Why did you really join this game?" he asked quietly. She hesitated. Then answered honestly. "I want to build something big. Something that proves girls like me don't have to beg rich men to succeed." The air grew still. He tilted his head slightly. "And if the rich man chooses to help willingly?" She met his gaze boldly. "Then it stops being help and starts becoming control." Silence. Heavy. Tense. Honest. For the first time, Tade looked genuinely surprised. Most people admired him, flattered him, feared him. But this Lagos babe challenged him. He found himself asking softly, "Are you not afraid of me at all?" Zara smiled faintly. "I'm more afraid of losing myself than losing this game." Something shifted in his eyes at that moment. Something deeper than curiosity. Something personal. The hidden announcement. As contestants prepared to leave, a sudden message flashed on their phones. Influence test result. Contestants who remained authentic score highest. Contestants who exaggerated or manipulated relationships lose points. Observations are ongoing. Gasps filled the bus ride back. Some contestants looked nervous. Some angry. Some confused. Zara leaned back quietly, heart pounding. Authenticity was actually an advantage here. She smiled slightly. Maybe being herself wasn't a weakness after all. But as she glanced at Dami sitting quietly beside the window, she realized something else. This game was not just building business leaders. It was slowly exposing hearts. And hearts were fragile things to gamble with. That night, Zara received another message before sleeping. "You surprised me today." She stared at the message for a long time, then replied, "Careful, Mr. Billionaire. You might start liking the Lagos babe." Minutes passed. Then the reply came. That would be a very dangerous mistake. Zara's heart skipped. She didn't reply again. But deep down, she knew one truth had quietly taken root. This game was no longer just about money. It was slowly becoming about something far more complicated. Trust, power, and a growing connection neither of them was ready to admit. By the third week of the Billionaires game, Lagos no longer felt like the same city to Zara. Not because the streets had changed, but because she had. She walked differently now, more aware, more observant. Every conversation felt layered. Every smile carried hidden meaning. Every silence seemed louder than words. The game had slowly stripped away illusions. And now, only truth remained. Or so she thought. The rankings reveal. The contestants gathered once again at the Innovation Hub, tension thick in the air. A large digital screen stood at the front of the room, glowing ominously. Tade walked in, expression unreadable. No greetings this time. No warm introduction. Just pure business. "It is time," he said calmly, "to reveal your current standings." The screen lit up. Names began to appear. Daniel, tech entrepreneur. Dami, brand strategist. Zara, fashion entrepreneur. 2 contestants marked eliminated. Gasps echoed in the hall. 2 chairs were empty. Zara's chest tightened. They had really been eliminated silently. Just like he said. Her name, number 3. She exhaled slowly. Still in the top 3. But Dami was ahead of her now. Dami glanced at Zara briefly, expression mixed, victory, but also conflict. Their friendship now stood on fragile ground. The final phase announced. Tade pressed a button. The screen changed again. Final phase. Integrity and loyalty. Zara's heartbeat quickened. "This phase," he said slowly, "will determine the winner of the Billionaires game." The room fell completely silent. No more business tasks. No more networking parties. From this point forward, you will face decisions that test who you truly are when no one is watching. He paused. Because true power is not measured by intelligence, but by character. Zara swallowed. She suddenly felt exposed. The secret challenge. That evening, each finalist received a sealed envelope with strict instructions. Do not open until midnight. Do not discuss with any contestant. Your future in the game depends on this choice. Zara stared at the envelope on her bed like it was alive. Midnight. She paced her room restlessly, heart pounding louder with every passing hour. 11:58 p.m. 11:59 p.m. 12 a.m. She opened it. Inside was a single letter. Her hands trembled as she read. Confidential task. You have the opportunity to secure your place in the final 2. Information has been gathered that one contestant violated minor competition rules earlier in the game. If you reveal the name to the committee, you gain automatic advantage. If you remain silent, the game continues fairly. The choice defines who you are. ****. Her breath stopped. A name was printed at the bottom. Dami. Zara staggered back slightly. No, this must be a test. Her mind raced violently. If she exposed Dami, she would secure her advantage. She could win. She could get the billionaire investment. She could finally achieve everything she dreamed of. Her mother's house. Her fashion empire. Her future. All within reach. But at what cost? She sank onto her bed slowly. Tears burned her eyes unexpectedly. This game is wicked, she whispered. Because now, it wasn't about strategy. It was about her heart. Meanwhile, the billionaire watches again. Inside his private penthouse office, Tade stood by the glass window overlooking Lagos Lagoon, watching the city lights shimmer. On his desk were reports from the observers monitoring each contestant's reaction to the envelopes. Some reacted immediately, calling the committee to report names quickly. Some hesitated. Some looked relieved they weren't the ones accused. But Zara. She hadn't made any move yet. He exhaled slowly. "This is where I finally know who she really is," he murmured. Because deep down, he already knew something dangerous had happened. He didn't just admire her strength anymore. He was beginning to care. And that complicated everything. Zara's decision. By morning, Zara looked exhausted but peaceful. She walked into the evaluation room where Tade and the committee sat waiting. Her heart pounded loudly as she approached the table. "Miss Adeyemi," one committee member said, "have you made your decision?" She took a deep breath. "Yes." Tade watched her closely, expression calm but eyes intense. "This is your chance," another member added. "You may reveal the name and secure your place in the final round." Silence filled the room. Zara closed her eyes briefly, then opened them. "I choose," she said steadily, "to remain silent." Shock flashed across several faces. The committee exchanged glances. "Are you certain?" one asked. "This decision could cost you the game." She nodded firmly. "Yes. Because if I win by betraying someone who trusted me, then I didn't really win." The room went completely still. Tade's jaw tightened slightly, though his expression remained controlled. But inside him, something shifted deeply. Respect. Real respect. The emotional confrontation. Later that day, Dami confronted Zara outside the building. "You knew, didn't you?" Dami asked quietly. Zara didn't deny it. "Yes." Dami's voice shook. "Then why didn't you expose me? That mistake I made could have disqualified me completely." Zara looked at her calmly. "Because you trusted me when we partnered. And that trust still matters to me, even in a game." Dami's eyes filled with tears. "You're foolish," she whispered. "But, you're real." They hugged briefly. And in that moment, Zara realized something powerful. Winning meant nothing, if she lost herself. The final revelation. That evening, all contestants gathered again. Tade stood before them, holding 2 envelopes. "It is time," he announced, "to reveal the finalists." The room felt like it stopped breathing. Finalist 1. Daniel. Applause echoed. Finalist 2. A long pause. Zara's heart pounded wildly. Zara Adeyemi. She gasped softly, hand covering her mouth. Dami smiled proudly from her seat. Zara walked forward slowly, emotions swirling inside her chest. She had made it. But she didn't even feel victorious. She felt changed, stronger, wiser, more aware of the cost of ambition. As she reached the stage, Tade handed her the envelope. Their fingers brushed slightly. Electric, unspoken, complicated. He leaned closer and said quietly, so only she could hear, "You just did the one thing most people in power fail to do." She whispered back, "What's that?" He held her gaze. "You chose integrity, when winning was easier." Her heart skipped painfully, because now she realized something terrifying. The game was almost over. But the feelings growing between them were only just beginning. And as Lagos lights shimmered that night, Zara understood the truth. The final round wouldn't just test business. It would test her heart against a billionaire who had built a game to control outcomes. Yet somehow, she was becoming the one thing he could no longer control. The night before the final decision, Lagos wore a different kind of silence. Not the noisy silence of traffic pauses or generator hums, but the kind that sat deep in the chest and refused to move. Zara stood by her window in Yaba, looking out at the flickering streetlight below. A group of children still played football barefoot on the dusty road, laughing loudly like tomorrow didn't exist. She envied them. Because tomorrow would decide everything. 1 billion naira investment. Her future. Her dreams. And maybe, something even more complicated. Her phone buzzed softly on the table. She didn't need to check the name. She already knew. Tidere. Final decision tomorrow. Are you ready? Zara stared at the message for a long time before replying. Zara. I don't think anyone can ever be ready for a decision that can change their entire life. The typing bubble appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, Tidere. You're not afraid of losing the money. You're afraid of something else. Her fingers froze over the screen. He knew. He always knew. Zara. Maybe I'm afraid of what happens after the game ends. This time, the reply took longer. Tidere. So am I. Her heart skipped. She didn't reply again. Because for the first time since the game started, the competition no longer felt like the most important thing. The final gathering. The next morning, the finalists arrived at Adebayo Estate once more. Everything felt familiar now, the tall gates, the marble floors, the calm staff. But today, there was tension in the air like thunder waiting to strike. Daniel stood on one side, confident in his sharp navy suit. He had played the game strategically, built alliances, made bold decisions, and never hesitated when opportunity appeared. He was strong, smart, calculated, and he wanted to win. Zara stood on the other side, wearing a simple but elegant deep green dress she designed herself. No borrowed luxury, no designer label, just her, authentic to the end. Tade walked into the grand hall slowly, holding a single black folder. This was it. The Billionaires game, he began calmly, was created to identify more than intelligence or ambition. It was created to reveal character under pressure. He looked at Daniel. You proved strategy and boldness. Then he looked at Zara. You proved resilience and integrity. Silence filled the hall. The winner, he continued, will receive a 1 billion naira investment and a long-term partnership with my business empire. Zara's chest tightened. Partnership. Not just mentorship. This would tie her future directly to him. And that suddenly felt heavier than the money itself. The final question. Tade closed the folder slowly. Before I announce the winner, he said, there is one final question. Both finalists straightened. This question, he added, has no correct business answer. Only a truthful one. He turned to Daniel first. If you win, Tade asked, what will you do with the investment? Daniel answered confidently, outlining expansion plans, global tech influence, and scaling his brand across Africa. It was impressive, strategic, powerful. Then Tade turned to Zara. And you, Miss Adeyemi, if you win, what will you do? Zara inhaled slowly. Her mind raced with many answers, fashion empire, factories, profit growth. But instead, she spoke from her heart. I'll build a fashion academy for young girls who can't afford training. I'll create jobs, not just clothes. I'll make sure no girl with talent feels small because she lacks connections. The room grew quiet. Her voice softened. Because I know how that feels. Silence lingered. Even Daniel looked slightly moved. But Tade wasn't done. He stepped closer to her. And if you don't win? Her breath caught. She hesitated, then answered honestly. I'll still do it. Just slower. But I'll still do it. That answer wasn't strategic. It wasn't polished. It was simply true. And truth, in a room full of ambition, sounded louder than anything else. The shocking announcement. Tade took a deep breath. Then spoke. The winner of this year's Billionaires game is. The air froze. Zara Adeyemi. Gasps echoed instantly. Zara's hands flew to her mouth, tears filling her eyes before she could stop them. Daniel exhaled sharply but nodded respectfully. She had won. The Lagos babe had won. But instead of excitement exploding inside her chest, she felt something strange. Relief. And fear. Because now, the game was truly over. And real life was beginning. When the game became real. After the crowd dispersed, Zara remained behind, holding the contract folder with trembling hands. 1 billion naira investment. Her dreams, finally within reach. Tade stood a few steps away, unusually quiet. For the first time since she met him, he didn't look like a billionaire mastermind. He looked like a man thinking carefully about something deeply personal. Finally, he spoke. You changed the outcome of my game. Zara frowned slightly. How? I designed it to reward strategy the most, he admitted. But you force me to realize that character matters more. She blinked, surprised. So, what happens now? He hesitated. Something he rarely did. Then he said quietly, "Now, the game is over. And we return to real life. No more tests. No more hidden observations. Just reality." Her chest tightened. Reality. That meant he was no longer Mr. Billionaire host, and she was no longer contestant Zara. They were simply two people, standing in the same room, feeling something neither of them had planned for. The confession no one expected. Zara finally asked the question that had lived in her heart for weeks. "Why did you really invite me to this game?" He looked at her steadily. "At first. Because your hustle caught my attention." He paused. "But later, because you did." Her breath stopped. "I built this game believing emotions were weaknesses," he continued quietly. "But you proved they can be strength when they don't control your values." Her voice trembled slightly. "And now?" He exhaled slowly. "Now I'm faced with something I didn't plan for. I respect you. I admire you. And I'm beginning to feel more than I should." Silence fell heavy between them. Her heart pounded painfully, because she felt it too. But she remembered her words from weeks ago. About control. About not losing herself. She swallowed hard. "If we cross that line," she said softly, "I need to know I didn't win because you like me." His expression turned serious instantly. "You didn't win because I like you," he said firmly. "You won because you deserved it. Even if you hated me, the result would remain the same." That answer mattered more than he knew. Tears slipped down her cheeks quietly. "Then maybe," she whispered, "whatever this is between us can be real. Not part of any game." For the first time, Tade smiled fully. Not the controlled billionaire smile, but a genuine one. "Then let's start without rules," he said gently. "No games. No power moves. Just honesty." She laughed softly through her tears. The Lagos babe and the billionaire, trying normal life. He smirked lightly. That might be the hardest challenge yet. 6 months later, Lagos buzzed with news. Zara Adeyemi launches Fashion Academy for young women. Her brand exploded across social media. Young girls from different states applied for training. Her designs appeared in major fashion shows. Her story inspired thousands who once believed success was only for the rich and connected. And the billionaire. He remained powerful, strategic, respected. But those who watched closely noticed something new. He smiled more often now, especially when Zara was around. They weren't rushed lovers. They weren't dramatic headlines. They were something stronger. Two ambitious people, choosing each other slowly, carefully, honestly. Because the truth was simple. The game had tested their intelligence. The competition had tested their ambition. But real life was now testing their hearts. And this time, there were no rules. Only choice. Only trust. Only love. Growing quietly in the loud city of Lagos. If you enjoyed this story, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel for more interesting stories.